Hello everybody, this is CityFolk66 and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've got a very different kind of video. So normally I do these, Animal Crossing gaming videos on the channel, but today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be talking about a piece of music that I wrote very recently. Actually, I just finished it for a composition contest, and I did some videos of various compositions I've done in the past as well. On the channel, like several years ago. You can go back and see a whole bunch of things. I'm going to share a couple of those in today's video. But I just thought it'd be interesting to do a video discussing my my composition process and me as a composer rather than as a doing gaming videos and stuff. Something a little different. And yeah, if you're interested in learning more or anything, I can link some of my compositions that I've done in the past again, and feel free to stay in contact. I'm putting this on my website as well, so you can check that out for all of my composition stuff and some covers as well that I've organized. Link to this channel and my second channel and all that. So check out all that stuff if you're interested in knowing more. Otherwise, here we go. Let's get started. So let me. I'm going to switch it. I have set up on OBS, so sorry for the quick cuts. Hopefully this all works okay. But this is my... So basically the piece is a piano concerto for, and again, a composition contest. And I called it Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm going to actually play a quick clip of a piece that I wrote in 2014. That's a violin concerto called Little Snow White. So here it is. Okay, so you heard a little bit of that piece, my violin concerto, and this is my piano concerto that I just finished. And basically, it's kind of like a sequel to that piece. In terms of the fairy tale kind of connection there, it's a concerto. So this is like my next concerto since writing that violin. I haven't written a concerto since. And I think this piece is a little bit bigger than that one. It's going to be the same amount of time. Actually, it's going to be about 10 minutes, and I only actually have 2 movements of it done at the moment. So as you're watching this, I'm probably starting to work on movements 3 to 5 and sketching things and going through the process again with that stuff. So I will probably share more about that in a future upcoming video. I'm sure in a couple months, depending on how things go with various things. So with this piece, I kind of started out with, this is a planning document. I've kind of started to do that for some pieces recently, just to kind of get my ideas out in words of what I want to happen in the piece. It's kind of like I plan out, when I do a cover or something, or when someone does a cover, maybe they'll plan out general things they want to happen in it, potentially, I don't know, or they have an idea of it. That's kind of what I do. I have a list of pieces I want to do, want to cover. So it's kind of similar here. I have, Little Red Riding Hood. It's a famous fairy tale, so I have the plot, so I have the structure already there, which is very helpful for me because all I have to do is fit my music into the structure. So we start off with the first movement that shows, it's Little Red Riding Hood and her mother making cakes. And I didn't really. So again, this is an early draft. I don't have everything here. So what you'll hear in these first 2 movements, I'm going to play very shortly here, is you're going to hear Red Riding Hood and her mother this is kind of their quaint village music, and I actually started with sort of a Once Upon a Time kind of thing, and before this even happens, and then you'll hear Red Riding Hood's theme, starting in the piano, but does have stuff in the clarinet and stuff as well. And then the second movement, that's the other one that I've done, is kind of a sort of scherzo. I kind of put, scherzo-like here, frantic energy. Again, these are kind of descriptive words for me to know, up here I had mournful, solemn. This is scherzo-like and energetic, so you can kind of have a picture maybe of what is going to happen in that movement. With winds, you'll hear a lot of woodwinds there. And Red's theme embedded in that. And I'll show you some sketches of how I work through all that. And so I have that started, the orchestra kind of opening that movement with the piano solo, and then we kind of have the wolf, because this is when the wolf comes into the picture. So when she meets the wolf, in the story, she's kind of still, she's naive, doesn't really she trusts the wolf, she doesn't really have any ill doubt towards him. And so I kind of had the wolf kind of dark theme, just continuing continuing with Red's theme going on. You'll hear that in the piece, and I'll point that out. And yeah, and I said that perhaps to represent her unawareness of the danger, which is kind of where I went with that. And just a sneak preview of what's going to come ahead. I don't think I'm going to do this third. I'm going to actually make this fourth movement the third, so it's going to be a little bit of a... I actually, and again, you'll hear this, the wolf theme I started actually with this fourth movement, and then I made it into what you're going to hear for the second. So you'll hear kind of, it's going to be sort of a foxtrot kind of thing, just a fun, silly thing almost. Until the end when, he eats the grandma, and then he eats Red, and then the final movement I think is going to be the version with the huntsman, if you know the story, where the huntsman kind of rescues them and, make it a happy ending, just like I did with Snow White. Might as well kind of be consistent, for the kids, I guess, or however you want to say. So yeah, so that's kind of my general plan where I start writing. And before I show anything more of this, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to put this in the description as well if you want to skip this moment, but I'm going to go ahead and play you the piece, and yeah, enjoy. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to stick around to some more, behind the scenes composery things, please do. Um, so here are my sketches. I basically just took a bunch of pictures of my sketchbook. Here we go. Now it's popping up. And there's a lot of pages here dedicated to this piece, even just the first two movements. So I'm not going to obviously go through every little detail. This page in particular, I thought would be interesting because this is kind of some of my early drafts of what would be Red's theme. All right, so I'm here at my keyboard here to kind of play through a few things from this page. I thought this was a very interesting page because it kind of shows the evolution of what I determined for Red's theme, Red Riding Hood's theme. So you know the theme as, and I'm going to play in the A minor in the key that's right here. And then that obviously evolves to... Hopefully you can hear that. I'm sorry, there's a little bit of reverb on this keyboard. And so that kind of changes that section of the piece. And here, I kind of got that through the sketch above. And that's going to actually go a little bit faster. And up here. Something like that. Something like that. That was the idea of the theme at first, and I basically took that first bar, and I was sketching for the scherzo first because I thought that fits her character, and then I changed that into the slow movement version. So I thought that was interesting, and then there's this one as well as just separate to that, and I date these things as well, September 21st. So it's been about a month, a little over the month since I've been working on this, so it's been a big project. Here we go. Now it's letting me get to all the pictures. So let me kind of sort through these. This is one where I was coming up with an idea. I'm gonna just kind of pick a few of these and just go through them. But this is one where I think I had the theme in mind, but I was gonna do a sort of like a bunch of character. You can kind of see how I sketch as well. I have obviously a lot of blank spaces in here, and yeah. So and I don't know how I was gonna have like a slow version of the theme with a bunch of crazy arpeggios, which actually ended up being in the final in that first movement at the very end. Yeah, and I do a lot of ellipses. You can see that little brackets with the ellipses right there. That kind of tells me, that's going to continue on. This is just a general sketch, and I do a lot of things in parentheses. Sorry, guys, I keep losing my mouse here. There we go. No? There we go. This is the... So you remember the wolf theme was something like... But it was slower. If I speed that up, you'll hear a little bit of a preview for the third movement, which is something like... up here, I guess. And something like that. But you could hear the beginning, right? So sort of Ravel, Foxtrot, I guess, something like that. I had some sort of ideas. I'm not sure what's written at the bottom there. One of Ravel's operas that I really like. I think I was coming up with that Foxtrot. This is just an idea, right? I'm just sketching out my ideas, and we'll see if they make it into the final piece or not. Okay. I can just scoot from here. That's good. So I gotta do it this way. Let's see. Let me skim. I'm just gonna kind of skim through this. If you want to kind of pause, if you're really curious. Let's see. Anything else? I'm not gonna go into too much depth. You can see up here. This is the start of me planning. If it works. There we go. That's the winds and everything, right? And here it's actually the first theme that I come up with, that the arpeggio, which didn't make it into the final. I actually changed that. Yes, and then here I was coming up with So I was inspired by Ravel's Piano Concerto and Rimsky-Korsakov. Maybe not inspired by, but these are the two pieces I had on me to kind of look through. For help, for ideas and things, and I kind of took this. Basically, I took that whole kind of gesture from Ravel a little bit. So there we go. Let's see. Let's go back here. I just to get ideas for writing for the piano and different techniques I could use for the piano concerto. And you can see that in more force up there for sure. You can see how I cross the staves. and it's the pianist kind of playing but just really quickly striking the keys in that way. And then this is actually that whole piano solo bit that I was saying about. And here's that's what ended up being Red Riding Hood theme, right? Maybe that was from a different. Okay, maybe some of these pages repeat. I'm not sure. And this is so this ending, actually, this very ending of the piece, that I had that in mind as the ending for a long time, and I managed to kind of transition that into the ending, transition that section before. Why don't we just go from there, okay? I have a bunch of sketches, more of the themes, and it's kind of just these two themes back and forth, I think, and me trying to work things out. So I don't really want to bore you too much with all these, but if you want to look at them in more detail. Okay, here we go. So I took that section 86 to 102. I had written it out in the orchestra, and when I was trying to get to some orchestration elements of it, I decided I actually took this out for a walk, and I basically made a blank finale template with, you can see the bottom is filled in with the Wolf's theme, how I had it, and I was basically exploring with like bitonality and different techniques to kind of make it with Red's theme on top interpolated with this Wolf theme on the bottom. So you can kind of see how I work some of that out. I have those triplets on that second line right above the. I don't know how to zoom in or point out things on here. Even though I'm doing college classes, you can see right there those triplets that kind of repeats. And that kind of continues on. Oops, sorry about that. We have. Oh, and then this is just a little bit of interjections. We have some piano interjections. I think I had sketched some piano interjections, but then I ended up changing all that with the piano to make it so, if you notice, the piano kind of has low moments, and then it gets up high and has its high moments as well, to kind of be with both parts, both the Wolf on the low end and Red Riding Hood on the high end. I guess I want to reverse these in my webcam. But yeah, you can kind of see that sketch that's how I sketched that little section. And from there, and I think that was very helpful to kind of really, I could play these on the piano and make sure the underlying harmonies worked how I wanted. I knew I had that ending piano in mind, so I just had to get to that moment. I think the piano just ended up being a last minute decision, deciding to do it that way. I just kind of came up with that idea, as one does. And then finally, I had a binder of all of my sketches where I just kind of, I call this my like continuo, I guess, where with the entire piece, how it is, how I wanted to make it. It's a lot of gaps. It's not actually a straight shot or anything. But you can kind of see this. I have the opening with these opening chords. I think that's what they were, and the little piano thing, and some just ideas how I wanted to kind of continue on. I didn't necessarily have bar lines all in place yet. And I kind of knew, this was the next section. I think I got these from sketches, and then I was also composing at the piano, So this is my kind of opening movie theater, I guess you could say. I just actually went and saw Dune at the theater yesterday. My first movie theater experience in a long time, right before the Animal Crossing update happened. That was quite a day after I just turned in this competition. But yeah, so I kind of drew inspiration for this section from my movie theater experience, so then I got to validate that when I actually went to the movie theater. Is there anything else in here? I don't know if there's... And then again, it just kind of keeps on going, right? So this is I didn't have as much for the first movement, and the second movement you can see up. We talked about that, right? So that's kind of the theme of Red's theme when it's more mischievous. And then I had this little kind of cello theme right up here, which actually, again, I guess that is kind of Red's theme again in a more heroic light, and it also kind of goes back to that very early sketch, I guess, a little bit. It changed a little bit at the end, right? But yeah, that's kind of there you go. That's kind of ended up being in the final. And then here's the piano version. I think I just literally copied this by hand, and the ending. Oh yeah, and I did. So I think I wrote this ending out here, and then I must have put it into that template, and then I put it in the orchestration. So that's kind of where that went. And then the very ending, which I kind of knew I wanted, and I had worked out generally how the movement would end. Again, this is the end of the piece. It's so weird to me because I have an idea of where the piece is going to go, right? But I haven't written any of that music yet. I'm saving that. I'm taking a little bit of a pause, and then I'm going to write that later. So it's weird knowing this is going to continue. This isn't the end. This has just been what I've done so far. yeah, and I think that's it. So this is the place we started with. So for the sketches at least. So I'm just kind of talking at you. Hopefully this is gonna come in a digestible format or anything. I'm gonna put little chapters in the description and stuff, so you can skip ahead. You can put this on the background, whatever you want to do. And here's the piece. Here we go. This is what I've submitted for the contest from November 2nd. There are some small little errors I noticed. Of course, I'm going to notice errors and little engraving things and, all that, but what can you do? Here's the instrumentation if you're curious. And I'm going to show you how I put together that demo track in a second. But I have, this is basically what was given to me for the contest. I have some different percussion as well. I'm sure these lists are going to grow as we get into the other movements. And then strings, of course. Sadly, no harp. My good friend Caitlin Tom. I know, I'm sorry, but so yeah, and I ended up just putting the concerto in the big letters here, and then just calling it Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm not gonna do too much of a perusal of this score, just because, again, just in case. But you can kind of see here, this is what it ended up. This is how the work kind of ended up becoming. These like little woodwind flourishes, alongside the piano. Again, this is meant to be kind of similar to when I discussed my two play pieces. If you remember those, the violin duet and the reed quintet from summer 2020. This is a while ago now. This is the autumn 2021 edition, I guess you could say, of that. Again, so you can see this is that. Again, you can see from that sketch. I can even show just maybe the one example. Which I haven't really looked back and forth at these, so it's kind of cool for me. Where was that? Not here. What was it here? Yeah, I guess it's like somewhere in this section. Yeah, this measure. You can see this measure in the piano, and then you can see these measures here. Beep, 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 beep. That kind of rhythm in the brass. Yeah, in the brass, right there. It's just really small for some reason. And then the piano also continues. Good stuff. Let me kind of skim through. You can kind of take a quick look. This is Red's theme, and then we get the full orchestral version. This is what I was talking about, where we have the theme in the top part of the piano with all the flourishes, and then the strings, the violins play it, and then we have the oboe, the little oboe taking on that, yada yada. This little thing. I have that in my head. I know you guys probably don't, as not much as me, but and then we get to the second movement, and this is here. You can see it's in the wind, a very wind-heavy section. The piano has a little bit of a gap. Again, that will correspond with this music here, right? The second start of this movement, I had this whole in mind. Whoops. This kind of continues onward, and I put in a little bit of piano flourishes as well, and this little string melody, is that represented here after the cello solo? Yeah, right here. Yep. And you can see here in this example, you can see I have chords here. Right? I didn't actually know that I wanted this accompaniment yet, and that's fine. For continuo, that's totally fine. That's the idea. You want to have just the general sketches and layout of the thing, and then you can go in and add in your details and go from there. So that's kind of how that worked out. It has some snare drum as well. Yeah, that continues. Sorry for not going in too much depth. I'll go in more depth in a future video. I just wanted to get this out here. We have the piano solo, which again we talked about, and I can show you from not from here. Sorry, where's the wolf? Right here, measure 86. That is. That would correspond, right, as I said, right here, 86 to 102. Right, you see this is the wolf's line. And so here you'll see that the cellos and basses have it, and low piano and bass trombone. But bassoon gets it later, I think. Yeah. No, they don't. I give the bassoon else. I don't even know my own piece. Yeah. Anyways, but you can see, yeah, right. The low instruments have that. The other instruments, you have the triplet feel as before. All that stuff. And that's kind of how I ended up orchestrating all that out into that section of the piece. And that continues onward until we get that conclusion, that final page. Just go ahead here, back to here. And that continues onward to the end. And this is the last page of the score. Keep doing that. And yeah, here's the last page of the actual score. Yeah, with everything. And I know my webcam's blocking a little bit of that, but it's okay. Yeah, and so that's the score in its entirety. well, 2 movements of it. It's not done yet. I'm going to continue working on that, as I said. But before to end the video here, I thought I would show you a little bit of the logic file. So that's how I made the demo track that you heard at the beginning. I just put all these instruments in place. And yeah, so you can just see, I basically, so I don't have any actual like software instrument packs or anything. I just have this full version of Logic. I need to work on my software instrument library. You know, I will work on that. But for now, I'm focusing. I just needed to get some sort of really good demo track, not what Finale produces in its software in its general MIDI state. And this definitely helped because I could put in the percussion. I could set my own tempos, and that helped me make sure it was under 4 minutes, which is the limit. I don't know what all these are there. I should get rid of these. Here we go. Okay. Anyways, that's not too important. But yeah, you can basically see I imported the MIDI, which is basically telling Finale how to play everything, what notes to put things on, and I could import that or export that from Finale into Logic, and you can see how, you know, all of everything is exactly as it was in Finale. I didn't type it in myself or anything, but what I did do manually was take, you know, oh, you're not hearing any of that, are you? But I could take the different articulations. Wait, let me turn this up. You can hear it from my computer. But yeah, you can see that I can choose what articulation. So like, let's say I don't want this to be. Sorry, that my computer. Let's say I want it to be spiccato. You can see it changes the sound right there, right? Maybe you can see a little bit of that. Which I want it to be. I want to get rid of that. You hear a random spiccato G. That's my fault. But yeah, or G sharp rather. But yeah, so that's kind of how that goes. And same for a bunch of instruments, have different options. These are just the strings. The piano doesn't really have much. But yeah, and then you can have the percussion as well. Which one is my orchestral kit? When do I get into that? I guess right here. Or maybe, what is this? Sleigh bells, that's right, I had the big sleigh bells section. Yeah, so you can hear the different instruments, right, how it works, and I can choose the different articulations and the different velocities at which they would be, so it could be loud or soft. And I manually did a bunch of that. I didn't do all of it. I kind of focused more on the score, which is what you're going to hear in the final thing. But yeah, that is how this Logic file went. You know, I undid that, so whatever. Yeah, so that's what you heard as the output of the piece, and yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it off. I know this was kind of just a lot of random information, me rambling about this piece, but it's exciting for me. It's one of my biggest scores. For the past couple years, I haven't really been as happy with my music. So this and a couple other pieces I've recently written have started to push my excitement back. This and also doing covers on YouTube. I know not a lot of people watch my videos or anything. You know, I'm just kind of posting stuff for fun, but still having some support from some of my friends and seeing some of my friends do really well on this website and all that. You know, that's kind of bringing my inspiration and creativity up a little bit, hopefully, through my excitement of just music in general in this exciting world of music. And I'm excited to do some Christmas stuff on the channel. I'm excited to continue working on this thing, and hopefully beginning of next year or sometime into next year, maybe I'll be able to do a full video, maybe a little bit more professional than this even, and really go into depth about everything. If you're curious and you really want to know that, let me know. I'd love to do more of that. For now, on my YouTube channel, more Animal Crossing New Horizons 2.0 stuff. Hooray. Some of the DLC at some point in the future. Keep a lookout for that. And for now, that's all going to be for today. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!